So what we're seeing in Australia, it's really heartbreaking, it's devastating, the drought conditions in the eastern side of Australia. And the background context of that is we're seeing much more hotter, drier days. So when we look back, it's been a very, very hot and dry winter. Last winter in Australia, we had 260 weather records, we had heat temperature records, and we had low rainfall records. So climate change is very much the driving force between many extreme weather events here in Australia. It's not just the drought, but we're also seeing more frequent and intense heat waves. We're seeing devastating coastal flooding. And then look at one of our natural icons, the Great Barrier Reef. That's been back-to-back bleaching in 2016 and 2017. So climate change is really placing huge pressure, and it's putting our economy, our agricultural system, and our tourism sector. So when you look at tourism, it's a multi-billion-dollar asset, and we had over 8 million people come to visit Australia. I mean, obviously, just listening to my accent, you know, I come from Scotland, and I was attracted here for the natural icons in Australia, the beaches, the reefs, the beautiful red dirt centre here in Australia. That's all in the front line for climate change.
And I know, Martin, you've had a very close look at what is happening in the Great Barrier Reef. Can you give us a better idea of the damage that is at stake there alone?
That's right. Well, the Climate Council was up on the Great Barrier Reef, and we have been repeatedly as a part of an ongoing project. And it's devastating, the bleaching that we're seeing there. So to put things in context, that climate attribution studies have been able to calculate that climate change made the bleaching event in 2016 175 times more likely. So we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar asset, natural icon, and there's thousands, tens of thousands of Australian jobs that rely on the Great Barrier Reef. And the sad thing is that we're going to see more return bleaching events because of the warming oceans, because of the burning of coal, oil and gas. So here in Australia and everywhere else in the world, we have a simple choice. We must transition to renewable energy and storage. So thankfully here in Australia, we have huge opportunities. It's one of the sunniest and windiest countries on the planet. Sadly, the federal government is failing. It's an abject failure when it comes to climate policy. We've seen greenhouse gas emissions continuing to rise the past few years. But on the upside, we're seeing action at the subnational level as well with renewable, and so that's really exciting there.
And Martin, it is such a politically heated topic, of course. I mean, even today we're watching some of the in-party fighting going on surrounding Prime Minister Turnbull there. And it does raise this question because just a day ago he had to really abandon attempts to bring emissions target changes to Parliament. So what would you like to see the government do if you're saying that policies have to change?
Well, it's unacceptable. I mean, when you look at electricity, that's Australia's biggest polluter, and yet it's the sector that has the most opportunity to actually drastically and deeply reduce its greenhouse gas pollution levels. The solutions are there. We have solar, we have wind, we have storage technologies, and we're seeing a massive uptake at the states and the territory levels, local councils, Australian households. There's over 1.8 million households in Australia that have solar, so there's a huge uptake, but sadly we've seen events unfold in Canberra. There is a lack of political will and action when it comes to climate change at the federal government level.
And even outside Australia, more globally speaking, I mean, when you talk about the source of power of electricity, a recent article in The Economist said that in 2017, in fact, demand for coal rose for the first time in 4 years. I was a bit surprised by this, considering that we've been talking about coal being taboo for so many years here. Are you seeing an increase in coal demand as well?
Yeah, so I think what's important to remember from a climate perspective, that coal has no future. It's the end of the line for coal if we're to effectively tackle climate change. So if we don't, and we're putting billions of lives at risk, We're putting our economies at risk. And when we look at the future as well, and indeed here in Australia, the cheapest form of new energy is renewable energy. Cheapest form of energy is renewable energy, so solar and wind, and coal is much more expensive. There's also the huge hidden costs. Look at the health implications of coal. So coal has absolutely no future if we're to effectively tackle climate change.